I earned $5,472 in 24 hours selling a silly little $27 PDF. Now that is my hook. Let me give you a little context behind that. A lot of the YouTube yahoos don't like to give context. So I launched a PDF last October 28th. It was called Threads Unleashed 2. I will link it right down below. And that ended up doing $5,400 in the first 24 hours. Now, how did that happen? Well, I built it up beforehand. Now, I had a big following. I had about 10,000 people that followed me on Threads at the time. Actually, I think it was about 9,000 followers. I had a reputation. I had put out Threads Unleashed 1 last July 1st, and that thing went viral. So a lot of people looked at me. A lot of people called me the Threads King, the King of Threads, Threads God. I've heard one of those three nicknames multiple times from multiple people. And so I launched Threads 2. It was a follow-up to the Threads 1. And for 16 days before, I built up anticipation and I built up hype. I teased it. I had an affiliate contest. I created a wait list. I think like 520 people joined the wait list. I think it was something like that, 510, something along those lines. But I built up anticipation before that. And I share that first part of the story to share with you. I'm doing that right now. And I'll share kind of what I'm doing, like literally, this is what I'm doing live. So I'm putting out a course in August called Threads OS, Threads Operating System. And it revolves around three pillars: how to create a digital product, how to get traffic on Threads, how to build an audience on Threads. It's going to cover a lot of what's in Threads and Unleashed 1 and 2, but I've learned quite a bit over the last 6 months on Threads. The platform has definitely changed, so there's going to be some new stuff. And then the third pillar is going to be email, because what I do is I use Threads to gain attention, and then I drive those people to my email list. I don't really sell on Threads. I don't really sell that much on social media. I do, but I don't do it that much, because if you want to make sales, email is a far better place to make sales. Not to say you can't sell on social media, you absolutely can. But if you want to make a lot more sales, fucking email your list. And it's crazy how many entrepreneurs I talk to who spend all this time creating lead magnets and building their email list. And then I ask them, when's the last time you sent an email? And they're like, 3 months ago. If you want to half your social media hustle time, build an email list and email that list regularly. So I've been teasing this Threads OS for about the last 10-ish days. And I came up with like these little taglines. You know, I used ChatGPT for this. It assisted me, I should say. And I kind of, explained what I wanted to cover: offer, traffic, sales, email. That's the three-part framework of Threads OS. It's pretty much my entire business model on Threads, and it can be applied on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn. It really doesn't matter the platform really all that much, but this is going to be built for Threads, YouTube. And so I've been teasing it with these little one-sentence posts, and I schedule them in an app called Black Twist, which I'll link that right down below as well. And I scheduled them 2 weeks ago. I sat down and I scheduled 10 or 12 posts once a day. I probably should schedule some more. And I have people that are excited. People are like, when is it coming? What is this? What is it? What does it entail? How much is it? I've had a couple people say, take my fucking money, take my money, Adam, give it to me now, release this. When's the date? I'm building up hype, I'm building up anticipation. Here's the thing. I haven't written a single word for this product. I haven't created a single slide. I haven't recorded a video. I don't have the logo. I have absolutely none of this stuff done. But I'm pre-selling it about 3.5 weeks before the actual launch. And this is why I was able to do $5,400 back in October when I started this video. Because I do a really good job of pre-selling, and I find a lot of people who launch digital products, they don't talk about their product until they launch it. And then they come to me in the DMs and they're like, Adam, nobody bought, or one person bought. And I'm like, how long have you been talking about it? And they're like, well, I launched it on Tuesday. And I'm like, yeah, how long have you been talking about it? And they're like, well, I launched it on Tuesday. I just started talking about it. It just came out. And I was like, wait, you didn't talk about it beforehand? And they're like, no, it wasn't done yet. And I was like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't. Again, right now, I don't even have the product done. I don't have an outline for it. I have the three-part system. I have it kind of in my head, what I want to cover, But that is it. That is it. You know, and so when you launch anything, I don't care if it's a $10 ebook, a $10,000 coaching program, you want to build up anticipation. You want to build up hype beforehand. You got to get them excited. You got to warm them up. And a great analogy with this is if you're baking cookies, I imagine you preheat the oven before you put the cookies in, right? This is the same kind of thinking. You know, you're warming up your audience. You're getting them excited. It's your job to get them excited. It's not their job to get excited. It's your job to get them excited. And you do that by teasing it and hyping it up and start releasing little details and have some fun with it. You know, I consulted with another lady who'd had a very successful launch in December of last year, and she wrote me up this guide of some of the things she's done behind the scenes, some gold, you know. So I'm going to be incorporating some of the stuff she's shared with me, some of her ideas. And you know, and to make it fun and exciting, and I'm going to use humor. And I'm going to do giveaways. You know, I did giveaways with Threads Unleashed too, which worked amazingly well. You know, and so I'm really going to build this up, and I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. But when you're launching anything, start talking about it beforehand. Now, I typically 3 weeks is quite long to talk about it before, and last fall I started talking about Threads Unleashed 2 16 days before I launched it. And at first I thought that was too long, and I was planning on launching Threads Unleashed 2, OS, this new course, at the beginning of August, but we're going to Montana for a family vacation, August 3rd to August 10th. And I didn't want to rush it, so I'm going to launch it the week after we get back. So I probably wouldn't have normally done it this big of a build-up, but that lady that I spoke to that did her launch in November/December, she did it for 21 days before. And she's like, I really built up the excitement and the anticipation. So the message here is you really want to build. I don't want to say you have to do it. You don't have to do anything, obviously. But if you want to have a successful launch, $10 ebook, $300 course, $1,500 coaching program, whatever, start teasing it. It's just, you know, when Taylor Swift puts out a new album, she doesn't just start talking about the album the day she releases the album, does she? No, she mentions it 6 months prior. Then she goes on radio shows and podcast interviews, maybe not podcast, but like radio shows, and she goes on TV and does interviews, and she builds up the hype and excitement. Movies, another one, Happy Gilmore comes out Friday. They've been talking about Happy Gilmore 2 for the last 6 months. You know, they did the premiere the other night, and they got these trailers that come out and people talking about it. A lot of the actors are doing interviews and late night, you know, on the late night TV shows and that. Adam Sandler hyping it up. What does an author do when he writes a book? He doesn't start talking about his book the day he publishes the book. He talks about it 6 months beforehand. He gets on podcast interviews. Maybe he starts writing some blog posts for people that have like a lot of traffic, you know, and building up that hype, building up that excitement. So we're just doing like what the Hollywood people do, what authors do, what musicians do. You know, when a new car comes out, you know, the new Tesla Model Y came out a couple of months ago. They've been talking about that for 6 months, man. People making YouTube videos. When's it coming out? Getting all excited, you know. Oh, it's got this new feature and this whiz-bang cup holder or whatever. You know, they talk about it well beforehand. You know, so it's not just I came up with this idea to, you know, talk about our products before, but that's what you got to do. And you got to talk about it a lot. And that's what I find most people, like I'll say, how many times did you talk about it before the launch? And people will be like, oh, I posted one thread about it. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, you got to talk, like, you're going to feel fucking annoying. Like, you're going to feel annoying that you talk about it so much. And that's where that's what you want to feel annoying. You know, because you have to remember most of your audience isn't going to see it. They say like 5% of social media, 5% of your audience on social media actually sees your posts. You know, so think about that. You mention it once a week and 5% of your audience saw that one post. Let's say you got 100 followers. That means 5 people saw it. Let's say you have 1,000, 50 people saw it. That's not enough. You know, they say we see 7,000 to 10,000 messages a day. Like, you got to talk about your shit all the time. So anyways, if you're launching anything, build up hype, build up anticipation, anywhere from, let's just say anywhere from a week to 3 weeks beforehand. I'm learning as I go. I learned Threads Unleashed 1, I launched it, I announced it on Saturday, I released it Monday. That's 2 days. Threads Unleashed 2 in October, I built it up for 16 days. This Threads OS product that's coming out in August, it's probably going to be about 3.5 weeks. You know, I'm learning as I go. The first time I did 2 days. The second time I did 16 days. This time around it's probably going to be about 23, 24, 25 days. Maybe even a little bit longer than that. You know, so talking about it, hyping it up. Like I said, I'm going to be trying things. I'm going to be like creating some funny memes. You know, some humor, because I use humor in my marketing. You know, in my content, my messaging. I use a lot of humor. And so I'm going to be leveraging that. I'm going to lean into that because I like funny memes and get people talking. I got some funny ideas that I got from this lady that I talked to the other day. You know, I got some funny ideas that she did for hers and I'm going to do for mine. You know, anything to get people chatting, anything to get people talking about, anything to get people creating buzz. That's all we're doing. So anyways, if you like these style videos, make sure you click the subscribe button. I do these videos every single day, Monday through Friday, where I walk around my neighborhood in Vegas. It's one take, no edits, real, raw, and ramble style content is what I call it. And if you have any questions, I earn a living selling silly little PDFs on the internet. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below and I'll do my absolute best to answer them. Thank you for watching. Oh, before I leave, I got this video right here, how I average $540 a day selling silly little PDFs. It's a free training on YouTube I did probably 2 months ago. A lot of good feedback. I got some comments that people were inspired by that video and they went out and launched their own PDF. So you don't got to buy anything from me. You can just watch that video and go implement it.